at the most amazing place on earth. Yes, I'm at Walt Disney World for the Run Disney event, and who better to join me than Sanya Richards Ross, because she is not only our newest Real Housewife of Atlanta, but most importantly, she is one of the fastest woman in the world, and among other things. First of all, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, this is a treat for me, Christal. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for for doing this. You were actually a featured guest at the 5K this morning at like 5 in the morning.
Yes, or bright and early.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is your first time doing this at Run Disney. One of the things that I loved about the event is that you saw families out there, right? You saw little kids, you saw like an 85-year-old woman was out there running today. So what did you enjoy the most about this first Run Disney event?
My goodness, Disney got it right today, and I'm so excited that this was my first 5K experience because it just had all the elements that made it unforgettable. Like you mentioned, families. There were so many families out there, and I think it's so important as a mom myself to be a good example to our kids. Like as adults and as moms and dads, we need to be moving so that our children stay active. So that was incredible. Running through Epcot, like running through the actual park, like it was insane. And then there were these incredible experiences. You got to see the characters. It was just a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Like the Wine and Dine 5K at Disney is everything.
Is everything. Yeah. I admit, I did not run. I walked.
Well, listen, Christal, I thought I was gonna run walk too. And then I realized it's not really in my DNA. So I ran the whole thing, but it was, I think either way, run, walk. My mom walked the entire time. And she had like a life-changing experience out there. Like she literally came back and she was like, Sanya, like, this might be one of my best experiences of my life. She's like, life slowed down for me. She's like, seeing all of these people. There were people with disabilities, people from all walks of life, different races, all of us out here at 5 in the morning doing this thing. She just felt so alive. Like it was a beautiful experience for both of us.
It was absolutely a beautiful experience. Like I said, I did not mind walking. I did know that you were not going to walk. There's no way a 4-time Olympic gold medalist is going to walk. But what was it like interacting with people that were here? Because
that was probably the most special part. People coming up and just being like, oh my gosh, you've been such an inspiration to me. Or when we would run by them, or when they would even run by me, they were like, oh my God, we're doing this together. How cool is this? And I just tried to also be an inspiration to them. And I encourage people on the way. You would see people stop running and start walking. I was like, no, let's go, we got it. And they'd pick up and start running again. And I think that's the part of when you sign up for an event like this that you don't realize is gonna be so dynamic, is the other people. They become 1,000 accountability partners who are helping you get to that finish line. And, I think in life, we definitely all need that at some point or another. And so it was just nice to feel that, especially after COVID. I'm a people person, so being home for 2 years was not the move. Being able to be back outside, be with people, it was just really special.
Yeah, well, I think it's amazing that you were able to share something that you obviously have conquered and dominated with people that are, just out there and doing it for a hobby or doing it for a purpose. I do have to ask you, because when you hear the title like world's greatest athlete, right? Fastest woman in the world, 4 Olympic gold medals, and so you've had such an amazing career. What types of sacrifice and discipline does it take to get there? Because we see you now, right? Where you're, retired, you're on Real Housewives, you're hanging out. But it had to take an amazing amount of sacrifice as a young woman to get to that level of competition.
Absolutely. It was a 24/7 mental, physical commitment to sports and excellence. But it was, I had the dream when I was 9 years old to be an Olympic champion. And so it was, I felt like it was my calling. It was, this gift that God had given me, and I was very proud to be able to use that, to be able to travel the world, represent Team USA. But it was a lot of commitment. I did 1,000 sit-ups every day.
That's that discipline.
1,000 sit-ups every day. I was on the track 5 days a week in the weight room. I did Pilates. I had a mental coach. I had a track coach. I had a weight coach. I just had all those things. Ultimately, the most important thing, though, was my support system. Like, my mom and dad, my mom was there today. They're the ones that really made the sacrifices. Like, they're the ones that were, beside me the whole way and with me for the highs and the lows, and made me feel like I could be a champion. And so, I think my support system is what really got me across the line so many times first. And, I don't call it a sacrifice because it was just all such a great experience, and it was an investment in myself. But certainly a lot of people made a lot of sacrifices around me for me to be great.
Yeah, well, that's important to acknowledge. But you know, it's interesting. I was reading that you got a sports psychologist to work with you.
Yeah.
And I think, especially after 2020, you know, over the last few years, we've heard athletes actually come out and acknowledge that, you know, being in the right mental health definitely affects what they're able to do on the 100%. Field or, you know, on the court, or, you know, we had Naomi Osaka came out and was like, I can't compete if I'm not in a good space. Yeah. How important do you think that conversation is to have so that athletes are able to compete at the level that they are able to if they're in the right mental space?
It is imperative, and I am so happy that we've come so far. When I started competing, it was a conversation that was not being had at all. It was just this push through thing, and it was like, you know, it doesn't matter if it's mental or physical. As an athlete, you just got to get the job done. And so I'm so happy that athletes like Simone Biles and Naomi Osaka have had the courage to talk about it, because just like everything else, we have a track coach or you have a basketball coach that's getting you physically prepared, but when it comes time to compete, the most important element is your mental strength. And so for me, getting a sports psychologist in 2012 changed the game for me. It absolutely changed the game for me. It helped me to put everything in perspective. It allowed me to show all that hard work that I was doing on my own when it mattered most. And so, you know, and I think obviously I use a sports psychologist for sports, but I think having a psychologist or someone that you talk to for life is also important, because in order for us to show up in the world as our best selves, we also need to have clear minds. So I'm a huge advocate for, you know, mental health, mental wellness, and finding someone that you can talk to that can help you through life, because it's not always easy.
No, it's not. But I love that's a collective, like it's not just physical, and it's also mental and all that working together. So you moved from that career into being on reality TV.
Yes.
Into reality TV, and not just reality TV, one of the biggest franchises on reality TV. So I want to ask you, how do you mentally prepare? Or what did you do to mentally prepare?
I am still working on that, Christal. I'm looking for the psychologist for Real Housewives. Where is she at? No, this has, honestly, it has been a really cool you know, a transition from sports. I did some reality TV prior to doing the Real Housewives. I did my own show with my family, a little different. But, you know, I think I'm someone that I love a challenge. I will try almost anything at least once. And I like being first. So being the first Olympian and the first Jamaican on the platform, especially like on a show that you said has been so iconic, such a huge part of pop culture for so long. So, you know, it has its good days and its bad days.
What was the biggest challenge this first season for you?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know if I've thought about it as just like a singular thing. I think the most important thing to me was showing up on the platform authentically and representing Black excellence and Black love and Black women. I really wanted to do that the best that I could. I think that probably for me, because I am not always like the wittiest person, I'm the kind of person who something happens and I think about it like for 10 minutes and then I'm like, oh, I got you. I know what I wanted to say. That doesn't work.
Your clap, you got to get your clap back game.
I got to get, you know what I mean?
Right.
So probably the biggest challenge was when I was in Jamaica with Kenya. Like I just couldn't remember like one of the things that she did that pissed me off, and then I'm like, let me think, like middle of the conversation. But that's really so me though.
Yeah, and Kenya's master at that. She is an Olympic gold medalist.
She is the champ. She is the champ. But it has been really fun, and we have started filming season 2, and it's already better because I know the ladies better. Like when I started last season, I had met Drew 3 weeks prior. Everybody else I met on the show. Yeah. And so really developing those kinds of relationships in that amount of time on camera can be challenging. So now having hung out with the girls off camera, kind of knowing who I vibe with, I feel a lot more comfortable. And I think it's going to make for better TV because it's going to feel more real and authentic. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, well, we look forward to seeing you. Hopefully, I'm just going to put it out there. I hope you and Drew can mend your relationship. It's just, you know, you guys started out and then just seeing it go.
We'll see what happens there, but it's trending in a better direction already.
Okay, I like that. I can take that. All right, so we got to get back to, because we're here at Walt Disney World, and your son is here. You have a 5-year-old, and to me that's the most amazing age because they're just like caught up in the magic. What are you looking forward to doing while you're still here, while you're able to enjoy this weekend? I know there's so many more. There's more marathons coming up. What are you and your family looking forward to doing here?
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the main reason I wanted to come outside of obviously taking part in the run. I just feel like Disney World has a magic that exists nowhere else. And like you said, at the age of 5, I also have my nephews who are 4 and 5 here. This is actually their first time. This is my son's second time here. It's just seeing that sparkle in their eyes when they see the magic, and it expands their own imagination. And you know, it's just the most beautiful thing. So we actually went to Magic Kingdom yesterday, and we're gonna do Epcot and Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. And I just, you know, when I was a kid, I used to look forward to this so much, and that tradition gets richer as you get older. You get to pass it on to your own children. So everywhere we go is gonna be beautiful because it will be for them, for most of them, their first time experiencing it. And I just think that there's nothing like that.
Yeah, I agree. It is a very magical place. Yeah. Speaking of children, I have to ask you my last question.
Okay.
Okay, so that was, you know what that is. That was one of the big pieces of your storyline last season is, you know, your husband wanted another baby. Yeah. And I did hear you doing an interview and said that you guys are working on that. Yes. So where are we at? Yeah, any news? Any storks on the way?
I wish I could break the news here on Rolling Out, but no, still no news. But we are working on it, you know, and I guess, you know, obviously in God's timing it will happen. But yeah, still nothing yet. Still just all practice.
Well, you know, storks come to Disney World, you know.
Oh, that's right.
The stork may come here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christal. This was great. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your trip. I'm definitely going to enjoy the rest of my trip. I will definitely be enjoying this. We'll see you next time. This has been Christal Jordan with Rolling Out, and we're out.